Spring is here. After months of being inside, no, your promo is done. We are finally free to go outside once again.
It's about damn time.
Make sure to make Toxic Radio part of your fun with the free app. Whether it's mowing the lawn, a round of golf,
Oh, what the hell?
bird watching, or even streaking. Whatever you're doing, make us your soundtrack. Spring is back. Make it toxic.
Master, dinner is served. Igor, it's not that I don't appreciate the effort, but you know I prefer my meals uncooked. And how many times have I told you about using garlic? Yes, Master. Forgive me, Master. Please. Bite into Paradelphia. Thursday nights at 8, only on Toxic Radio. Paradelphia, because what if it's all true?
Enjoying all that Toxic Radio has to offer? Well, make sure you like and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Be the first to find out about ticket giveaways, amazing guests, awesome contests, and Toxic Radio events. Just search Toxic Radio Live, all one word, and press that little button. Every time you do, someone here at Toxic Radio will get their wings. Yay! Well, not really. Aww. But we will get a warm, fuzzy feeling in our tummies. But then again, that just might be the beer. Anyway, like and follow us, and we will see you out there on the interwebs.
Welcome to Show 28, Wire to Wire Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Gene Walzak, and to my right, I have the man, the myth, the legend, the uncle, Uncle Shally.
The uncle.
And to my left, I have Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, College Trell.
What's going on?
Trell Simpson. What's happening, fellas? We got a huge show today. We're going to go to the NFL draft a ton. We're going to break down the defensive side of the ball. We have our fictional sports coaches. We're going to go over the UFC card. We got 4 big fights to cover and a little NBA talk. So we got a ton. Let's get into it. Let's not wait. I can't wait till this NFL draft start. All the trade talk, all the stuff, and it really looks like Miami's going to draft day us with trading with us to get up to 6 and then trade back and get more than we got to just go to 12. It's embarrassing. Howie Roseman spoke today, and so did Coach Sirianni, and that was embarrassing. You guys want to play some rock, paper, scissors to find out how competitive you are?
Did you see the live stream?
Yes.
Where like 13 comments in a row said fire Howie.
That was amazing. It's just really embarrassing what this franchise is right now.
We're going to get drafted. They're going to move back from 6 to probably like 8 or 9 with more either Denver or somebody who wants to move up and get Trey Lance or Fields.
They're still going to get their weapon. That's the funny part.
Yeah, they're going to move up. They're going to get their 1 back that they gave us, and they're going to move back to 9, and they're still going to get either Chase or Devonta Smith or Waddle. It's disgusting. And here, like, there was people giving Howie the benefit of the doubt that, trading back's a good thing. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's going to land Smith at 12. No, well, he's not going to now, and now he's going to look like an idiot again. But hey, it's all right.
Typical Howie Roseman football, guys.
Outsmart in the room.
He's the smartest guy. Oh, yeah, Michael Robert Lafferty already on the comment board.
My
The Eagles
man.
are having a quarterback competition.
Yep.
That was another stupid comment today. Just name Jalen Hurts the starter. We're not having a quarterback competition in Jalen Hurts and Joe Flacco. Knock that shit off, like, immediately.
To me, that, like, screamed, like, we're still thinking about maybe taking a quarterback in the first round. Like, that's what that kind of said to me.
Well, that's already been proven. Like, they were trying to get up to 2 to get Zach Wilson. That's what I mean. There's stuff coming out that they're trying to get up there they were trying to get a quarterback. There's still reports coming out that they might move back up to try to get Lance or somebody like that. But then out of the other side of their mouth, Jalen Hurts is our guy. We believe in him. We believe he might be our long-term guy, our guy for the future. It's funny, I've heard this story before. They've already buried a kid, and he hasn't taken a snap as a starter yet. It's crazy to me.
That's exactly what it is. It's crazy to me. The way they're treating Jalen Hurts at this point, like when you trade Carson Wentz and you take a guy in the second round and you're already looking to take his replacement without letting him play, it's embarrassing.
My whole thing was, again, Wentz was out of here. That was fun. Like the whole thing, you couldn't bring them both back next year. If you wanted to go with Jalen Hurts, you had to trade Carson. They traded Carson. But now, if you want to give Jalen Hurts a shot, then give him a shot. Like he already knows in the back of his mind now that he knows that he's not the guy for them.
He knows that they tried drafting another quarterback. Yeah. He knows that they are talking about having an open quarterback competition. He knows about this. He knows that it's an absolute joke what this Philadelphia Eagles franchise has done. And I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for us. I'm embarrassed for Howie Roseman. I'm embarrassed for the Eagles organization. And, yeah.
Embarrassed for the fans. It's going to be a long year.
So we might be talking about a player that the Eagles will draft at number 12 today because from what it looks at it, like it might be from the defensive side of the ball. So what we did is we did our top 5 at every position. Defensive line / edge rushers. So we took those outside linebackers and DNs and cooped them together with your D tackles. Linebackers, and then outside that we did our secondary, which there shouldn't be, I don't know about you guys, but there shouldn't be more than one safety on the list because the cornerback class is a lot better this year than it was last year. But with that being said, I think one safety should make your list.
That list is probably the most clear cut. I mean, the order might be a little bit different, but I feel like it's
the
probably
5 people.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be the same 5 people.
That's fair. So Howie's almost as big a clown as Trout, Bill Shellcross. That's Phil Black talking smack on the wire line. Don't post that. But so let's get into D end. Let's get into D line, edge rushers. So let's start it this way. College Cottrell, give me your 5 through 1. You can give me your breakdowns, your NFL comparisons. All 5 D linemen are going to be Simeon Rice. Go ahead.
So my number 5 for this list is going to be Greg Rousseau from Miami. He's an edge rusher who he may not be as highly ranked on other people's lists, but for me, it's a guy, he's just huge in general. Like, I just think that he's too big and he's too athletic to be left off of this list. I think he could be one of the top 5 most impactful players from the D-line position. So he made my 5 list. My 4 is Azeez Ojulari from Georgia, edge rusher. It's probably the best pure speed rush in this class, but he does need to get a little bit more moves, but he's also very active with his arms and his hands. He swats passes, and he swipes at the ball whenever he's trying to get a sack. My number 3 is going to be Jalen Phillips. This is a guy who was the former number 1 overall in his class, retired from football for a little bit, came back to Miami, played. He has all the tools to be an every down edge guy. My number 2 is Christian Barmore. This is a guy I'm really high on. He's very disruptive in the pass game, high motor guy. I'm so strong and so high on Barmore. I want the Browns to take him at 26, and if he's not on the board, I am perfectly fine with the Browns trading back and just, recouping some second-round picks and not even picking in the first round, just because.
So you have a D tackle too.
I love Christian Barmore.
I love that's see. This is the fun part about doing these lists is the value factor of D end edge rusher is way higher of a value. So like when we get to secondary, the value factor of a cornerback is higher than a safety, which is why you'll see those players dominate the list.
Mm-hmm.
But you having a D tackle is the second best D lineman in this class.
I didn't even do like player comps for everybody, but for Christian Barmore, like his pure disruption, he reminds me of Chris Jones on film. Okay. Like just how he can.
Just glad I didn't say Aaron Donald.
Just how he
reminds
can
me of the greatest defensive tackle
be
of
so
all time.
disruptive in the middle of the field. And then my number 1 is Kwity Paye from Michigan. Now this guy is the definition of disruptive. Like he will blow up any play, and he is relentless. Like he will attack the football if it's 15 yards down the field. If it's right in front of him, he's completely relentless. Love Kwity Paye, so that's my top 5.
It's a solid 5. Solid 5. I think I have a lot of those names on my list.
And then I also have a sleeper for you, of course. Charles Snowden.
So isn't enough.
Charles Snowden from Virginia, edge guy. He's also huge, 6'7", 240 and athletic. Smart player, great to contain. He just needs to go to the right system where they can work with him a little bit, and I think he can be really special.
Okay. Scholastic Shally for this section,
This
because
section.
you're a college football nut.
Yep.
Plus, it looks like you have the class of this class in D lineman to go to your alma mater.
Yeah, Quiddy Pay has a chance to be really good. He has every athletic attribute you would want. He's going to get even better once his technique and he gets a little bit of variety to his game. He's just a freak athlete. He's a big, huge kid that can run. He's going to be a nightmare for offensive tackles, but we'll get back to him in a little bit. Number 5 for me, I took Ronnie Perkins from Oklahoma. Very highly recruited, heralded kid out of high school. Started 3 years for Oklahoma. If you look at all his scouting and numbers, grades he's got from the combine and from PFF and everything, he was actually the only person on the list that got an over a 90 for both against the run game and the pass game. The kid's talented. Again, he's playing on an Oklahoma defense where he was probably always the best kid on the field. I think if he goes to the right system, he's going to be a very, very, very successful player in the NFL. 4 for me, I have Christian Barrymore for all the reasons Cottrell said. The only thing with him is a little bit it's a consistency issue for me. When he does get after it and he wants to play, everything he does is a highlight. He also disappears for 3 series at a time. Can't do that in the NFL. He's going to have to improve on that a little bit, but the kid's a stud. I have him at 4 strictly over consistency issues, and I just value edge guys over tackles. To be a tackle, to be a, Fletcher Cox, Aaron Donald, you to be that type guy to be higher up on this list. I don't know if he's that yet. Number 3 for me, I have Jalen Phillips from Miami as well. He's being linked to Indy a lot. Apparently, that's the guy they've been locked on the entire time. So if he's there, I think that's where he's going. Same thing. He took a year off. I guess you could question his desire maybe a little bit if he wanted to get into that. But physical, tool wise, mentally knows the game. Definitely can be an all pro type player. Number 2, I have Jason Owa from Penn State. Again, Big Ten kid. Very disruptive. Played on a pretty good defense for a couple years.
This is so interesting right now.
He's kind of in the same mold as Quiddy. Very, very good athlete. Reminds me actually a little bit of your boy Miles. Him and Quiddy are both built the same. They're long, they're strong, and they're fast. I think again another kid, could go to the moon in the NFL if he gets everything right and goes to the right defense that uses him properly. And then number 1 again for me is Quiddy Pay from Michigan. I think he's the best athlete out of this group. I think he's the highest ceiling out of this group. And if he goes to a team that has a good defensive coordinator and can teach him some things at the next level, I think he's an absolute stud in the NFL.
He can be an all-pro.
Absolutely.
And sorry, I was just about to rip you for having Ujulari at 2 because I thought he had to be your 2, and you didn't have him on your list.
Nope.
So you went the other way there. And I get it. I'll tell you why. I have him lower than most people. He's ranked the number 2 D-line in this class, and I'm shocked that you don't have him on your list, but I respect it, and I'll tell you, I'll get into why. I got Rousseau 5 also. He's ranked number 88 overall prospect. He is not listed in the top 5 at DNs, but you can't ignore that size. He's 6'7", 270, 265, but I like to round up a little bit. He's huge, and he's great at stopping the run. He's also great at getting at their quarterback. So I think that he's like one of those under the radar guys that, in my opinion, could be a next level player. I have Ojulari from Georgia 4, and I'll tell you why I have him at 4 and not 2. And it's funny, you don't have him on your list. He can't stop the run. He's a speed edge rusher, and that's what he is. And I think that he has bust potential written all over him because if he can't stay on the field in first and second down,
He becomes a third down guy.
Correct. He becomes a third down, race at the quarterback guy, and that's not what you want if you're drafting in the first round. So I get why you don't have him on your list, and that makes perfect sense. I couldn't have him 2. I couldn't. He's ranked 2, which I think is too high. I have a Barrymore 3. I know Cottrell's huge on him. He's disruptive. He's strong. He's gonna plug the middle. But the only and to have a D tackle 3 is still huge. But the only knock on him is he takes too many plays off. Most Bama D linemen do though. It's kind of like their MO over the years.
Well, one of the other 5-star kids makes the play the next play. I mean, they just rotate. I mean, that's the luxury they have.
It's also true.
And they have 4 other kids that come in after that to do the same thing.
I have Jalen Phillips too, higher than both you guys do, and I'll tell you why. Normally, when players stop, retire, and then come back, they don't do it twice. It's like I missed a game, like they retire because they think they're worried about the injury, and when they come back, their hunger seems to be stronger. Like I don't see like a comparison of a guy that retired and then came back and then retired early. His hunger has to be there. He missed the game. He came back. He's obviously talented. He was the number 1 overall ranked prospect at the D-line position. Now, obviously, I think Kwity Paye is a better player, but I think Jalen Phillips has to be 2 there.
He has all the attributes to be very good.
100%. And then Kwity Paye is man, I hate saying this about a Michigan guy, but this kid with the right scheme, the right coaching, could be a first or second team all-pro guy in the NFL, and he's that good. He's that talented. Any other comments on that? Because I think I've wrapped it up there.
No, I think it's. I mean, I think overall, I think it's kind of. I don't think it's as strong as classes you usually have in those positions.
Agreed.
Because honestly, I think to Cottrell's point, besides Barrymore, nobody knocks me over at the tackle position.
The only other guy who would have been in consideration would have been Marvin Wilson from Florida State, but after this past, like his stock just dropped completely. Like I don't know what happened with him, but he didn't have the year that we were all expecting, and so like he's the one name who I think can be special from the D tackle, but it's just so much of an unknown that he's nowhere close to this list for me.
No, I agree. I think it's a little bit of a shallower pool than it usually is.
I think there's 3 guys in this class that can be special. I think it's my top 3. I think it's Kwity Paye, Jalen Phillips, and Christian Barrymore. I think those 3 can be special. I think everybody else is just there.
Yeah, again, and I wouldn't disagree with that. But to your point, I think it's top heavy. I think you get out of those 3, and then I think it's a distinct drop to the other people on the
Which
list.
is why I have Russo 5, because I think that he's better than a lot of the guys I haven't ranked above him. All right, let's get the linebackers, guys. Cottrell, start with your 5.
All right, so my 5 goes to a guy who's from close to home, Baron Browning from Ohio State. Very athletic guy, sideline to sideline kind of guy. He's a good tackler, and he trusts his eyes. So I
am in trouble now.
He will make.
You have him 5. I'm in trouble. Good.
He makes a lot of plays purely because he sees ball, he goes to get ball.
Who did you pick?
Baron Browning.
He's not on my list. Go ahead.
My 4 is Jamin Davis from Kentucky. He makes plays in the run game. This is another guy who is see ball, get ball. My number 3 is Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame. He's very instinctive, and he hits hard, and he is not afraid to make plays on the football. Like, this is a guy who's really fun to watch. He was definition of hit stick on Madden. Like, his hit power next year as a rookie has to be at least 92 because he will hit you hard. My number 2, this is probably going to surprise a lot of people. I'm higher on him than most, is Jabril Cox from LSU. To me, this is the guy who is the best coverage linebacker in the draft. He's great at diagnosing pass plays, screen plays, seeing route concepts. I think because of the way that the NFL is going towards being more pass happy, I think this is a guy who's going to make a really good living in the NFL. And then my number 1, of course, has to be Micah Parsons. This is a jack of all trades kind of guy. He's the best athlete at linebacker in this class, and I mean, he's just so talented. Like it all speaks for itself with Micah Parsons.
Before Bill goes, I just want to let people at home know, because if you're not a big draft nut, that's fine. Jabril Cox is ranked as like the 8th or 9th linebacker in this draft. For Cottrell to have him 2, and I have him on my list too, but for Cottrell to have him 2 is a huge deal. And I think that I think Jabril Cox is a lot better than what people are giving him credit for. And
I don't think there's any chance he's the 8th or 9th linebacker off the board, though.
I agree with you, but I'm just going by the rankings, the mock drafts. Like they have him listed as the 8th or 9th best linebacker in this
Yeah,
draft.
and to be clear, like we're picking these guys based on what we've seen. Like we
Yes.
know I'm not saying that Jabril Cox is going to be the second linebacker off the board. I just think that when it's all said and done, he's going to be the second best linebacker that's in this class.
I agree with you. Well, not that part, but yes.
What the breakdown of it.
Shally, Scholastic. Get Scholastic on me.
5 for me. I have Jamin Davis from Kentucky. Charles' breakdown of him was actually pretty spot on. I think he has a chance to be a very solid, every down pro in the NFL. He's fast, he's athletic. I don't know if he's not, I don't know the right word for him. He's not flashy,
No, not at all.
but he's solid. He's a dude who's going to give you probably 120 tackles every year.
Mm-hmm.
And, you probably never notice him until he makes the tackle every game that he has to make. 4 for me, I have Jabril Cox from LSU. I think he's a little bit soft against the run, but he's fantastic against the pass. He's a guy that we'll be able to match up with most of the tight ends in the league. With him, I think the only thing that limits him a little bit is fit. I think he needs to go to a place where he's going to be able to play more of a free roving linebacker's position. He's not your prototypical middle linebacker. He's not that guy. He can't be that guy. He's too soft against the run.
He needs to be converted to a left outside linebacker to go.
He could play weak side. I mean, again, it all depends on your scheme, your system. He's just not going to be a Mike.
I agree because he's going to get blown off the ball and run plays.
Correct.
Which is why probably people have him ranked so low. But if I'm, God, I'll just
You're
shut up.
good. No good.
No, but if I'm a team drafting him, I'm moving him to a weak side and having him stick tight ends.
Agreed.
Yeah. So
And I think that's where you're going to see him. And if the team uses him correctly, I think he's going to be a very, very, very good NFL player. 3 for me, I have Nick Bolton from Missouri. For some reason, I watched a couple Missouri games this year. He's very good. He's very fast. You could argue he's one of the 2 or 3 best athletes on this list. To me, he's the sleeper on this list. He's a kid that a lot of people don't know about. He can get sideline to sideline, kind of like you referenced before. With the way the NFL is now, your middle linebacker's got to be able to run sideline to sideline and quickly. And if you can't, I mean, it's tough. I mean, the game's so fast now. He can do it though. He's a very good athlete. He's a very smart player. I do think he will probably. I don't think he has the top end of the next 2 guys, but doesn't have quite the ceiling. But be a very solid pro. Whoever drafts him is getting a good kid and a good player. Number 2 for me is Jeremiah Owusu-Karamoah. Like Cottrell said, he's a beast. He's an animal. If it isn't for the next guy on this list, he's probably the best linebacker in most other drafts. I watch a lot of Notre Dame football. We've all talked about Notre Dame at nausea on this show this year. He was the best player this year on defense. He's very good. He's gonna be a very good pro. And he's a big kid. He's a big kid. He's a good athlete. And he's smart. He's gonna be a good pro. Somebody's gonna get a very good player with him. And number 1 for me again is Micah. I think he's the best defensive player in this draft. Overall.
agree.
He's a stud. I still would have loved to have seen him play last year, but there's nothing he can't do. He's going to be the next great Penn State defensive player in the league.
Couldn't agree more there.
He's just really good. There's nothing you can say about him. He's just good.
I'm gonna get into mine really quick. I'm gonna save you the nausea of the Micah Parsons. We all have him one, and I'm gonna give you a little bit snippet at him at the end. One of the guys I have that neither guy has on their list is Zaven Collins from Tulsa. Big guy. He could play. So I love the versatility. He's going to be great as a run stuffing linebacker. He bulked up to DN weight. So they're talking about him as an outside linebacker. They're talking about him as converting him to a 4-3 D end. So I think he's versatile. And I think the fact that he's 260 pounds and 6'5" is going to play a role in the fact that he's going to be a really good run stuffing linebacker. So I'll have Zaven Collins 5. I have Jabril Cox 4. For all the reasons that were said already. I think he's going to be a very, very good pass-stopping linebacker. I'd move him out to outside linebacker, and I would have him stick tight ends all day. He's probably going to create some turnovers. He's quick, and he's going to have a lot of edge rushes. He's going to get after the quarterback because he's quick. I have Baron Browning 3. I have him higher than the Ohio State guy does. That's why I said I'm in trouble. If I have him higher than Cottrell does, and he's Homer Simpson over here. Maybe I'm overrating him. I think he was a stud on that Ohio State defense, and I think because what we talked about Ohio State all year was they were a problem on the outside runs, stretch runs, but the middle they weren't, and I think a lot of that had to do with the way Baron Browning played up the middle. Jeremiah Owasau Kamaru, same thing. I can't say his last name, but my point, he's an absolute animal. And if you remember the Clemson game, he really, really, he was the one that a lot of open field tackles on ATN. And I remember that specifically, and I'm like, wow, this guy is really sticking with one of the most elusive running backs in college football. And then Micah Parsons is number one. And the reason he's number one is because he can go sideline to sideline. Like, he can beat a running back to the corner, which is unreal for a Mike linebacker. So I don't think that's even close. I think that Micah Parsons is going to transform your defense and make it a lot better. And I agree with Bill that he is the best defensive player in this class.
Micah's a day one starter. Like, whoever drafts Micah, that he is absolutely starting.
Super worried he goes to New York.
What?
I'm super worried it's another Penn State stud that goes to the Giants.
Oh, man, hey. I mean, everybody in the East is getting better but us, so, I mean, it's fine.
I don't want that. I don't want another Penn State stud to go to the Giants. And it's like their breeding ground, man.
I'll tell you this. They're either probably taking him or they're probably taking Devonta if he's on the board. So, I mean, we're getting somebody shoved down our throat for the next 8 years. Just the way it's going to be.
Let's move on to D-back. And I think Bill nailed this when he said it earlier. I think we all have the same 5. I don't know. I didn't see your list. But I think we all have the same 5. I'm really interested to see.
I mean, I think the only one that could possibly be different would be who we put at 5. I mean, if you go by rankings, I didn't put the 5th kid on my rankings. I bumped this kid up a little bit.
Okay. So do you want to start?
No, you can start.
All right, Kachuk, give me your 5.
All right, so my 5 would be Trayvon Merrick from TCU, safety. This is a guy who he'll go downhill and he'll stick his nose anywhere. Like, he is not afraid to go attack a ball carrier at full speed and 100 miles per hour. He makes good plays on the football in coverage, so he will go attack a football. He's a safety that, if you throw it deep and he's one-on-one coverage with the guy, he will jump and try and make the play on the football and like take the ball away. My number 4 would be Asante Samuel Jr. from Florida State. It's a man-to-man corner that will break on the football. He likes the bump and run. I really like Asante Samuel Jr. My 3 may surprise some people is Patrick Surtain from Alabama. He's a great player that's not afraid of the moment, and he will always shadow your number 1 receiver. The one thing that I worry about him with is him being an outside corner in the NFL is his hip fluidity, and I just think that these NFL receivers have a lot more twitch than what he saw in college, and so I think it would be beneficial for him to go to a system where they use him in a Minkah Fitzpatrick-esque type of role.
I will agree with you that I think he has a future as a safety in the NFL. I mean, we've talked about that before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about the other thing, though. I mean, he lined up against Devonta and Waddle all day,
No, I said he
practice.
will. He will shadow your number 1.
I'm saying if he can keep up with them in practice, I mean, I don't know who's going to blow his doors off in the NFL.
Yeah, but I feel like those guys specifically, it's different when you have guys that you go up against every single day. You can kind of somewhat get used to, know what to expect. But when you're going up against different guys every single week that have different, ways to get open. So, like, it's a lot different going up against Julio this week, and the next week you're going up against Devontae Adams. Like, there's just different caliber receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, but I don't think his hips are going to matter when he's going against Julio and Devontae Adams. I think they'll matter when he's going against shifty.
They'll definitely matter going up against Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams can break you off 5 different ways this Sunday. So
Julio's the same way. The most underrated part of Julio's game is
his route running. Correct. I think that'll be a problem for him, and I think we will see him transition to safety. And I think he'll be a great fit there.
I think the big thing, he can go to safety because of his size, and that's the one advantage he does have over everybody else on this list.
My number 2 would be Caleb Farley from Virginia Tech. He's a zone corner. You tell him to be in a spot, and he's going to be there. He's really smart. He knows where routes are supposed to go for the most part. And if you watch Virginia Tech, you'll always see number 3 somewhere around the football just because he has a knack for finding the football and trying to go make a play on the ball. And then my number 1 is going to be J.C. Horner from South Carolina. He always plays with the chip on his shoulder, and this is another guy who will 100% follow the number 1 receiver. In the SEC, he had to go up against Jalen Waddle. He had to go up against Devonta Smith. So many other great guys throughout his career in the SEC, always sticks him, and no one ever really had a great game up against him, and he's not afraid of the moment. So J.C. Horn, I think, is going to be the best DB in this class.
I can't argue much with your list. I have the same 5 guys.
So do I.
Not in the same order, but I'll kind of debate you on your 1 versus 3, but we'll get into that. Bill, give me your 5.
5, I have Asante Samuel Jr.
So do I.
I think he has potential. He has all the physical attributes. I think playing at Florida State, the last couple of years with all the turnover and the coaching changes and everything, the turmoil down there, did him no favors. Again, he's a kid that's going to get drafted and he's going to get better and better as he plays. He probably starts depending on what team he goes to. He's going to have growing pains though. I don't think he has a ceiling as the top 3 guys on this list. 4 for me, I have Trevor Moore from TCU, the safety. To echo what Cottrell said, kid loves to play downhill. He loves to meet your running back 3 yards through the line of scrimmage. He's not afraid of the run, but as a safety, he's definitely the most complete safety in this draft because of his ball skills in the back end. Like Cottrell said, he can cover. The kid's an athlete. He has good hands. Same kind of thing. He's always around the ball. He's a very smart player. TCU's best defensive player by far this year. I think he becomes a very solid NFL player. 3 for me, I have Caleb Farley. Again, I think you're nitpicking with any of the 3 here, depending on which order you have them in. I think you can make a case for all of them. I do think the next 2 are a little bit better than Farley. He's going to be good. He's going to start. He is a little bit more of a zone guy versus a man guy, which in the NFL is a little concerning. I don't think he has the ceiling as the next 2 guys because they will shadow your 1. They're going to be lockdown guys depending on how they're used. I have J.C. Horn too. I still like number 1. Surtain's my number 1. I still like his size. I like his pedigree. I always get gun shy at drafting corners from Alabama, simply because they have the easier job probably out of any other cornerbacks in college because of their line and their linebackers and the way they generate pressure on quarterbacks. But Surtain's a little bit different than a lot of the other guys that have come out. He is big. I do think he could play safety. I just don't know how well he's going to tackle. It's the only thing that concerns me with that. JC's the guy that's climbing up everybody's board. He's shot up the board since the combine and everything else because of his physical attributes. I wouldn't be surprised if either one of them ends up being the best corner in this draft. I think they're very close. I'll give a slight edge to Surtain just over experience and pedigree, and that's really it. That's what's separating it from me. Physically, I think they're very close.
So I really like guys that have. I say this in baseball too. When you have a father that's a professional athlete, when you have a father that played professional football, you just kind of know how to be a pro. You kind of know how to train to be a pro. And you have 2 of them on this list. You have Patrick Surtain and Asante Samuel Jr.
Well, that, and then you have those kids. Not only, like you said, not only do you get a wealth of knowledge from your parents, but you always have expectations, but you always have that little extra push to want to be better than your father was.
Yep.
And I agree. I think that plays in.
I think it's huge. I have Asante Samuel Jr. 5 also. He's going to be just like his dad, man. He's an absolute ball hawk. He's going to be aggressive. He's going to get beat on double moves, but he's going to get you 3 or 4 interceptions.
Jump every other route.
Yeah. And I have him 5 because I really love the kid from TCU, man. The safety from TCU has an opportunity to be a top-class safety in the league. To be a safety on this list, you have to be special, just like being a D tackle on the defensive line list. So Trayvon Moehrig is 4. I have Caleb Farley 3. I think he has bust potential in him. Not like the other two. I think there's a big gap between 1, 2, and 3.
I would agree with you
yeah.
because he's a zone corner. So, like, if he doesn't go to the right fit and they try to man him up against, number ones, and
That's not going to
you see that. But I think if he goes to a good situation, it could very well be like, I'm not saying he's that caliber player, but it could very well be like Josh Norman was in Carolina.
You don't normally draft zone corners in the first round in the NFL.
I got you.
Agreed.
And I just think he has bust potential.
He does.
I think
he definitely has the potential.
The other thing is too, if you're a D-back that is following, shadowing a 1 over and over, like you are a top 4 or 5 corner in the NFL. Those are the guys everybody wants. And to Gene's point, I think the first 2 guys on the list can be that. I don't think Farley has that in him.
J.C. Horn. So we get into him. My only fear of J.C. Horn is the fact that he's super, like, it's funny. He's got like an attitude like Patrick Ramsey does. Jalen Ramsey, sorry. He's got an attitude like Jalen Ramsey does.
And they actually train together, so that's the funny part.
See, but corners like that, and I've seen tons of them coming out of college, corners like that can either be absolutely dominant, and just like Jalen Ramsey, or once they start getting shredded on the next level a couple times, that confidence, that swagger just tones down a little bit. Like when you can't be the guy talking shit if you just got burnt for 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I hope it translates because I think the NFL needs more corners like Jalen Ramsey, needs more Richard Shermans, needs more people that will talk that shit because it's fun to watch. My number 1's Patrick Surtain. He's a surefire starter. I agree with Dante. He's been commenting the whole time. I've been waiting to comment. His size, he can do so much. He can tackle at the cornerback position, which a lot of corners can't. I think Patrick Surtain is your number 1, and I think it's, yeah, I think that's.
I'm with you. I think he's the best corner in the draft.
I just think I think he can be a great player, but I think if you stick him out on an island, I think you're going to see him struggle a little bit. That's my only fear with him.
Fair.
I mean, who doesn't though? I mean, you're
Slay struggled down on an island this year. He's one of the top corners in football.
Right, and again, and Slay's one of the few that will go. I mean, you're talking about a handful of guys. You're talking about Lattimore, Slay, Ramsey, maybe 2 or 3 other guys.
Yeah.
So
they don't grow on trees.
This is the point though. If you think Patrick Surtain is going to come into your system year 1, and like see what they do with Slay in Philadelphia isn't fair, and you're gonna like, I'm glad he got his money because Philadelphia will make every corner look bad because they want to play man. Well, hopefully they change that system, but they want to play man-to-man on an island defense versus everybody. And when you go against elite talents like DK Metcalf, like Julio Jones, like these Devontae Adams, and you go against them week after week after week, every team's got that number 1 stud, and there's not Jalen Ramsey doesn't grow on trees.
No.
And yeah, the troll checks in. We need to
Isel
shut down
Jenkins.
corner like Isel Jenkins. Next week we're gonna have a full first round preview. I can't wait to get in next week. We're the day before the NFL draft. We're gonna have a whole show on the NFL draft. Hopefully you guys listen in. But I want to get to the fictional coaches bracket.
We're mocking it next week, right?
We're gonna mock the whole first round.
I think. Yeah, I mean, I think we should rotate it. I think that would be fun.
Like as if we're picking.
Yes.
I like that.
Like if you have,
Let us know your thoughts at home.
like if you have the first pick, then he'll pick 2. I'll pick 3. Like we'll pick out of
Can
a
we
hat.
not be assholes though? Like if we have the first pick, we know Trevor Lawrence is going 1.
No,
Okay.
I think we should pick it how like realistically. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't want. I think we should pick it out of a hat and then just keep doing that and go through and see where everything lands. I
I'm
think
with
it'd be
it.
fun. All right.
We can have like team needs the whole 9 yards. I
Yeah.
love it. Mel Kiper.
You're
What
Gene-
was your comparisons earlier? I loved them.
You're Gene Berman.
I'm Gene Berman. Like it.
I'm Shally McShay. And that's Cottrell Kuiper.
I like it. All right. Fictional coaches bracket. We got a lot of great feedback on this. I know you guys are looking forward to it. We got the right side of the bracket this week. Next week, we're going to have essentially the Elite 8. Or with Sweet 16.
We Sweet 16.
Sweet
next week.
16. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to get into it. We're going to break them down a little bit further because we had such a positive response on them. These are all the movies that you watched as a child or recently or for Shallcross 35 years ago.
Facts.
These are all those movies that you watched, and we're going to break down the coaches. Now, I'm doing it, and everybody has their own opinion, but I'm doing it based on, like, if I think they're a good coach. Not necessarily an acting role. Like, if I think they're a good coach, like who I think the better coach is.
Yeah, I'm not factoring acting into it per se, but it's good coach. But then it matters too. Like if they won.
I was gonna say, what about the movie itself? Like, what if you just like the movie more than?
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm not doing that.
Okay.
Like
I'm not going off like Oscars criteria here. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
not at all. I just mean like even if I don't like if I think the coach is better.
Okay, that's fair.
But then everybody's got their own system.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Let's have fun with it. I think we let the Final Four. I think we let the fans do the Final Four. Like we'll debate it, but we let them kind of pick them out.
We'll do what we did last time. We'll pick them and then they'll have a vote as well. So
I like it. All right, Mike has the bracket. Cottrell did a great job in fixing this, cleaning this up, making it look so you guys can see it at home. Facebook. We stole the idea from Dante. Thanks, Dante. Appreciate it. So we're starting with a really fun 1-8. And there's people at home that really want Norman Dale to win this whole thing. He's one of the great. I'm going to let Shally introduce every coach in the bracket, and we'll break them down. So, Shally, I surrender to you, my friend.
all right. So 1 seed, we are going Norman Dale from the movie Hoosiers. Head coach of Hickory High, took the long shot basketball team all the way to state finals and won. He's up against Jackie Moon, played by Will Ferrell, from Semi Pro. The most ridiculous basketball movie I've ever seen in my life. Funny stuff. This one's a little bit. I don't think this one's close. I mean, other people might have differing opinions, but this is Norman Dale for me all day. Just a better coach, better story. I think anytime you take especially when you have kids involved, anytime you take a long shot group of kids and mold them and make them winners, and you get the happy ending. I'm all Norman Dale on this one.
Okay, Cottrell, what's your thoughts?
So I'm also going with Norman Dale on this one. But the funny thing is that Semi Pro is like quietly like one of my. I'm not going to say one of my favorite movies, but I will say it's a movie that I own on DVD, like that I still have around, like, and I definitely really enjoyed Jackie Moon. Like, Will Ferrell is a complete nut. Norman Dale is
I've
the right
appreciated
answer
it
here.
more that I've watched it. That fell in the same categories we were talking about earlier with Kicking and Screaming. The first time I saw it, I didn't like it that much. But that one's actually grown on me a little bit for as far as Will Ferrell movies go.
So you're going Norman Dale too?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm not making a case for Jackie Moon. I'm not. However, listen, if we were doing general manager, like Jackie Moon, the GM, dude, he traded for Monix for a washing machine. I mean, you only traded a washing machine. You got Monix. You got your point guard.
Woody
he
Harrelson,
revitalized
baby.
the system. He got that team almost in the NBA. They beat the Spurs.
I'm surprised you're making a case against your boy.
I'm not.
Norman Dale is your guy.
First of all, I love Norman Dale.
I know you do.
But
He's
listen,
your guy.
if we're not going to make – you guys have made great cases for Norman Dale. I'll have plenty of time to speak about Norman Dale. But this is my last – I already know who's moving on. You guys both picked Norman Dale. So this is my last chance to talk about Jackie Moon. And Jackie Moon as a GM, pretty solid.
So if this was like a 7-game series, who win? You think it's a sweep with
No,
Norman?
it's
or you
4-1.
get, okay.
4-1.
You're going to give Jackie Moon a
Yeah,
game?
I got to give him the one game. The
Okay.
washing machine for Monix, like that's it right there.
Jackie's crafty enough and crazy enough. He steals a game somewhere.
And I think, he wrestled the bear.
Did wrestle a bear.
He did run away, though.
Sounds like Khabib.
I mean,
All right.
Khabib would have took
We're going to
him
go
down.
with Norman Dale. Thank you. We submitted the score. All right, the next one. I love this one. Continue.
This one's actually tough. So you've Coach Klein, the head coach of the Bayou. What are they? Bengals, Bears? What were they?
Coach Klein was the SCLSU Mud Dogs.
Mud
They
Dogs.
went against the.
That's right. So from the
Come
Water
on,
Boy
bro.
with Adam Sandler, I'm old, dude. I forget stuff. Coach Klein, played by the Happy Days guy name. Henry Winkler. Thank you, Jackie. Versus
We have old people in the back giving us answers.
Versus,
I'm kidding. Thanks, Jamie.
So
Jamie's
producers,
awesome.
that's what producers are here for.
Nice, great.
Versus George Knox from Angels in the Outfield, played by Danny Glover. Most people know him from the Lethal Weapon movies. This one's tough for me because overall I think Coach Klein's a terrible coach, but George Knox wasn't much better.
That's actually funny. Before you give yours, let me start this one. I went last.
Go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to break this down simple, okay?
Okay.
Coach Klein is an offensive genius.
Oh, Jesus.
You got to understand, he created the entire playbook that was stolen from him. He just doesn't have the heart. He needs a head coach. I think Coach Klein would have been a great OC if he had a strong-nosed head coach. Coach Klein created the entire offensive playbook for the LSU Mud Dogs, the ones you were talking about. No, I'm sorry, the Bayou whatever. But my point being is Coach Klein actually had intelligence.
Butcher these teams' names. We need to figure out what they are.
George Knox, on the other hand, he had the worst team in baseball. He's about to get fired, and he needed friggin' Angels to save him. He didn't do that. That was God. If we had Coach Klein versus God, it'd be a different story. The answer here is clear. It's Coach Klein. It is clear. Chuck, give me yours.
I mean, you make a very compelling argument for Coach Klein, and I tend to lean that way. I feel like, yeah, I mean, it's as clear. I think it's as clear as when you have quite literally Angels on your team, you should win. Like, who loses
Facts.
with that? Like, I could go out there and coach some Angels to get some
Bro,
wins.
did you see the diving catch the guy made where the Angel drug him? Or the pop-up the guy hit in the infield and the Angel took it over the fence? Come on. This is Coach Klein. You have Coach Klein too?
Yes.
So he's already moving on.
Jesus.
I'm smacking tables right now.
South Central
Hold on.
Louisiana State University Mud Dogs.
Yeah,
That's their team.
You want us against the Bayou, whatever. I think it's LSU.
It definitely wasn't LSU.
Whatever. Not really LSU. But give me your pick. Would you went with George Knox? We
Yeah,
already
no, I would lean Klein again. I mean, if you're talking about divine intervention to win, I mean, it doesn't make you a good coach.
These are facts.
So that's where I'm at for that.
And you got to understand, before the Angels got there, they were the worst team in baseball.
Yeah. Tony Danza. Who's the boss? On the bump.
Yeah. All right, so we got our first two winners. Let's go to the third matchup, which is Morris Buttermaker versus Billy Haywood.
Mars Buttermaker, originally played by Walter Matthau, later on by Billy Bob Thornton. Walter Matthau was the better Marty Buttermaker. Versus Billy Haywood from Little Big League. Great cameo from Lou Piniella, Ken Griffey Jr., and Randy Johnson. It's another tough one. Bad News Bears is a great, just funny, like, it reminds you of Little League, like, where you play on a team, you always have, like, the one kid that's bad, but he's good. You've, like, 3 or 4 kids that are just absolutely terrible that, like, ruin your games all the time. You have a funny kid, you have a fat kid. Like, it's just, and it was very un-PC back in the day. Very funny movie. Little Big League is I think it's actually an underrated movie for me, baseball movie-wise. And it was original premise. I mean, it's something that could never happen, but pulled it off well. I'll let you guys start debating. This is a close one for me, but I do lean one way.
I need Cottrell to go first.
All right.
All right.
He's the only one who hasn't won first so far.
So I will go with my man Boris Becker.
Boris
Buttermaker.
I'm just kidding.
From Bad News Bears. Admittedly so, I have never seen the first Bad News Bears, so I definitely have to put that on my list of movies to go watch.
It's so much better than the remake.
But yeah, I saw the remake, and Billy Bob Thornton, hilarious. I love the movie. If it's better than the first, if it's better than that, the remake.
Billy
of it,
Bob
then,
was good. Please don't get me wrong. Billy Bob is probably the perfect person to play that role.
Mm-hmm.
Walter Matthau's better.
Well, I definitely have to go look at it, but Billy Bob Thornton takes the cake for me, so he gets my vote on that.
I need Bill to go second on here for a reason.
Why?
I'll let you get. Let me. I did the hurrah here.
All right.
You go third on this one.
I'm going Billy Haywood.
Go ahead. Explain.
I mean, a 12-year-old took the kid to a wild card playing game. His grandfather was the owner, died. 12-year-old kid was wise beyond his years. Won over a bunch of old major leaguers in the clubhouse. Let the best player in the team start dating his mom. Questionable decision at best, but it worked out. Listen, I mean, could you imagine the pressure of being a 12-year-old and managing a Major League Baseball team?
That's a fact right there.
I'm going Billy Haywood, the upset.
That's a very solid upset. In the 3-6 matchup, I loved that it got brought down to me. Listen, the Bad News Bears, you said who it remind you of. We have a lot of people listening right now that know exactly what the Bad News Bears remind us. You know what it reminds me of? B-South softball. Softball America, B-South division. And if you could take a team from that division, or if you could take a bunch of kids that were that bad and have them win, we're going Bad News Bears. We're going Morris Buttermaker.
They weren't bad
They were
necessarily.
terrible.
No, see, that's not true. All right. You're different.
Morris Buttermaker.
Buttermaker. We got that one wrong. It's all right, though.
So far, it's been chalk.
No.
All right, so we got, oh, man. So all the people crying for Lou Brown. Here you go.
He's here.
Lou Brown's here. Guys, we're not leaving out Lou Brown.
Here we go. Lou Brown, coach of the Cleveland Indians. Probably from, it's definitely a top 5 baseball movie for me. It might be top 3. I've seen it, no lie, 200 times. Tire salesman gets called in to coach the Cleveland Indians because the owner is trying to tank the team and move him to Miami. Some of the best one-liners in the history of all sports movies from this guy. And he was a good coach to boot. Versus Sam Winters, the head coach of what was the program. Good movie. Kind of a behind-the-scenes look. Everybody pretty much thinks they modeled that movie after Florida State, after what was going on with the steroid scandal and everything down there. Use the same colors and everything, just change the F to an E. Good movie though. This one is relatively very, very easy for me. Lou Brown.
You can pick the order. You're going to Lou Brown?
I'm Lou Brown all day. I think Lou Brown has a chance to win this entire quarter of the bracket.
I couldn't agree with you more. By the way, I need to make a comment. Keith Seringer, you got to pay attention last week, dude. We did the first side. 100% Jimmy Dugan already moved on.
He's already advanced, bro.
He'd already advanced, bro. Survive and advanced. All right, so
easy 12-point victory.
Back, Lou Brown is the easy one here. This is super easy. He has so many one-liners in this movie. You know, I just taking that team that they were trying to tank and taking that group of major leaguers and sending them to the playoffs.
Didn't make the playoffs. Season
Lou Brown.
1. Played the playing game, but it's still Lou Brown all day.
Playing game still playoff. To me.
Not back that one.
Play-in game. Control? Any other...
I mean, this is the easiest pick in the world.
I was going to say, Lou Brown, Indians, I mean, this is actually like one of my favorite sports movies. Not even just baseball. Sports movies.
Shocker.
Great movie. Charlie Sheen, hilarious in it. Lou Brown takes the cake, and I am 100% on board. He definitely has a shot to move on to the Final Four from this region.
The funny thing, I said this to Cottrell. I think we talked about this the week you were in DR after technology finally failed you. I think it's one of the reasons I've always kind of liked the Indians. I really think it's because of that movie. Because I remember even back in the day, I've always watched the Phillies and loved the Phillies, but when the Indians were really good with Alomar and Tomei and all them guys, I was pulling for them to beat Boston that year. I think I've just always had a natural affection for the Indians because of that movie.
If the listeners outside are listening, you don't know Bill Shawcross is in this movie.
It's not true. I'm in 2.
It's okay. Lou Brown's in 2.
Yeah, but we're talking about 1.
Lou Brown, Shawcross is in the movie. Just to be clear.
Jack Parkman, got to play the villain.
The women in Cleveland makes him. The shimmy makes him sick.
Bob Uecker, a huge part of that.
All right,
movie.
we're going Lou Brown here. You can submit that. We got to move on to the second half of the bracket. Gordon Bombay versus Pop Fisher.
Gordon Bombay, man of the Mighty Ducks fame, Minnesota Miracle Man, took District 5, ragtag hockey team, turned them into Pee Wee champs, beat the Hawks in the finals against his old coach. Versus Pop Fisher, head coach of the Philadelphia Knights in The Natural, Robert Redford movie. Spoiler alert for that movie. If you read the book, he does not hit a home run at the end. He strikes out. But that wasn't going to
Loser. I'm just kidding.
That wasn't going to play well. That wasn't going to play well on the big screen, so they changed it. Natural is one of the purest, best baseball movies ever. Robert Redford's great in it. But as a coach, I mean, Gordon Bombay's done it at the Pee Wee level, international level. It's Gordon Bombay for me.
So hold on. How does Major League get only one, Major League One, but he gets to go on the national level with Mighty Ducks 2? He did it at a high school level. He's going Mighty Ducks 3.
We're talking about him as a coach. You brought in a character that we weren't talking about Jack Parkman.
All right,
we're talking about Lou Brown.
Yeah, but he's in both. All right, was in one. But my point is Lou Brown's in both. All right, so let me just this is an easy one.
Yes.
Gordon Bombay, it's clear. The guy didn't have much talent, made it work. A lot of these movies are like small kids beating up the
It's the feel good story, man.
Exactly.
Yep.
So Gordon Bombay here, coaching does it. The triple deke. Let's go.
Charlie Conway.
Anytime you have a situation where you're coaching a group of guys and you get a win and it's considered a miracle, you're the better coach. So got to go with my man Gordon Bombay here.
Okay, so let's move on. Gordon Bombay is the easy one. All right, the next one, I love this one. Let me go first on this one.
This is the toughest one, I think.
No, it's not.
No?
Nope.
All right, well, you got Patches O'Houlihan, the dodgeball legend from the movie Dodgeball, versus Chubbs Peterson, Happy Gilmore's personal coach. Both very interesting characters, to say the least. Chubbs lost his hand to an alligator. Patches was like a war hero turned into like a drunk in a wheelchair. But took the team to the dodgeball finals and had him beat Globo Gym, Ben Stiller.
Both hilarious movies, both of them.
Yes, they are comedy wise. They are absolutely two of the funniest sports movies ever made.
Both died. Spoiler alert.
Yes, true. That's a good point. I'm not gonna go first on this one, but
you want me to go first?
This one's tough for me.
I don't think it's too tough for me. I'm going my man Chubbs Peterson in this one.
Ooh.
I feel like in the movie Dodgeball, he didn't really. I mean, he coached those guys. If you could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball, and then like he had them in traffic and stuff, and like don't get me wrong, that definitely helped them. But the fact that they went out in that tournament and he didn't even really coach them, it was just, instinct and then just will to win. Like they wanted to win for him because he died. The man put the blindfold on and hit Ben Stiller. Like that had nothing to do with coaching. It was just their day.
So you're giving them no credit.
Nope.
You're just oof. All right.
I'm going my man Chubbs.
Oh, you want me to go?
Yeah. I want to go last on this one. There's only certain ones I want to go last on. I'll go first on the rest of them. I don't care.
I'm going Chubbs.
See, you wrap it up already. I wish you would have went the
That's
other
why that's why I was trying to give you like the old
I'll be
wink,
clear.
wink.
I'll be clear.
Don't make me go last.
It's a sweep for Chubbs.
Okay, so I'm going
sweep.
It's Chubbs. I'll say it's Chubbs for this reason. I'm giving Patches more credit than you are. Listen, like you took people that had no business being in the dodgeball realm, took them to the finals. That being said, Happy Gilmore, not only was he not a golfer, he was a terrible hockey player.
Facts.
And turned him in, and man,
won the Masters
tour championship. You couldn't call it the Masters, but yeah,
I get it. The green jacket.
Yeah, yellow jacket, gold jacket,
exactly.
gold jacket.
That's what they were doing.
And Shooter McGavin is absolutely one of
the funniest villains of all time.
He is a absolute no-brainer top 2 or 3 sports villain ever in any sports movie. So yeah, it's Chubbs for me.
Chubb's in a sweep, and I don't even think it's that close.
I'm with
Patches
you.
O'Houlihan, I'm not going to take much away from him. Like, Globo Jim, he beat him with average Joes and all that. Dude, to take a guy that doesn't play golf and have him win the Tour Championship, a guy that's not even a good hockey player, just drives the ball. He took Bryson DeChambeau, and he had him win the Masters. Bryson still can't do that. Chubbs, all the way.
Probably not going to do that either.
All right, so Molly McGrath versus Coach Carter.
Here we
Ken
go.
Carter.
All right, Molly McGrath. I don't want to say. I'll say it's not an obscure movie for me because it was made in the early '80s. It was on all the time. It's a great movie. There's a lot of big name guys in it.
Huge name.
Yeah, that were just starting out before they became big in Hollywood. Name of the movie's called Wildcats. She's a female coach of a boy high school football team. Teaches them obviously more things about just football. Has everything going against her. Gets no respect because she's a woman. They're more of like a inner city type team.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of resources. And turns the team around. She's played by Goldie Hawn, who back then was absolutely one of the biggest actresses in Hollywood.
These are facts.
Versus Ken Carter, Mr. Samuel, Mother effing Jackson himself.
Get these mother effing snakes off this mother effing plane.
Dude's been in more movies than anybody.
Facts.
Same kind of thing. Bunch of troubled kids.
The one kid's still doing push-ups now.
Yeah.
Still.
Bunch of troubled kids
to this day.
that went to inner city school.
His arms are huge.
Took the program over. Same thing. Taught them a bunch of life lessons. Made them better players, better people. Both these coaches won too. Who's
going first here?
Not me.
All right, good.
You want me to go first?
Yes.
All right, so I am. This is probably the toughest one that
this
we
is
have
tough
for
because
me.
one of these is your people.
I'm going with Molly McGrath here.
Oh, no.
I loved Coach Carter, don't get me wrong, but Wildcats is one of my favorite football movies. For those, Woody Harrelson's in it, Wesley Snipes is in it,
yep.
and then Goldie Hawn. It's a great movie. They had so much division on the team, and for her to like rally these guys, get them together to play great on the field, and like it wasn't like an overnight fix. Obviously, same thing with Coach Carter, but Molly McGrath, like it was a against all odds kind of thing. Same thing with Coach Carter, but for me, I just kind of leaned slightly Molly McGrath.
Do you want me to go second or third?
You should probably go second. I want to save Bill for last.
Yeah, because I don't.
I'm going Coach Carter here. Not only did Coach Carter coach that team to win, he also coached them to pass in school. And, there's something to be said about a guy that does not compromise his morals when everything is against him. Everything. I mean, they want him to play. He locked the gym up. Coach Carter would not compromise those morals and taught them to play fundamental basketball. And if you remember the plays, my sister Denise, I love, dude. This is Coach Carter.
So this is gonna be all me.
Bill,
That's on you.
that's why I wanted Gene to go second. 'Cause I knew he was leaning that way.
Oh, you knew where I was going.
Yeah, exactly.
Coach Carter's.
So I like that you brought up what you brought up because that factors into mine. But Molly McGrath also, she was kind of like Coach Boone before Coach Boone movie wise. There was
We have one Coach Boone in this bracket already.
There was racial divides on that team.
There was.
Woody was one of the biggest players, the best players, and this is tough. Oh man,
Don't do this to me, Bill.
I think I am.
You can do it.
No.
Yes, you can. You can do it.
Molly McGrath
Let's
going to next
go.
round.
Let's go. Big decision. Shit.
Let's go,
Listen,
Bill.
I need Mike and Jamie. I need your votes. I'm kidding. I'll keep going until I get a win.
Oh,
he's with
3-1.
us.
That's
I'm
3-1.
done. I'm
That's
done.
3-1.
All right, never mind. Your votes don't matter.
It's
Mike,
over.
Mike doesn't even matter now.
This is insane.
Molly McGrath advances to the Sweet 16. She got it done. She's a woman in a man's world. Made it even harder.
Yep. She didn't care if it was raining outside. She
Nope.
had them practicing.
They were in the mud.
Whatever. It didn't even matter.
Half the guys didn't have helmets.
vehemently disagree.
Have you seen Wildcats?
Yes, I did recently because of this.
Okay, all right, good. I like it. I like the dedication.
Give me the last one, Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi of the Miyagi Dojo from Karate Kid versus Ed Gennaro, the two-way warrior coach from Necessary Roughness, which is actually a very underrated, funny-ass football movie. They go out and bring Scott Bakula back, who's like a 40-year-old QB because he still has college eligibility left. They have Kathy Ireland as a supermodel as their kicker. Their center, I can't remember his name. He's probably the funniest guy in the movie.
See, the funny thing is, keep talking about that because there's no chance Miyagi's losing.
No.
The last time you're talking about this guy.
Miyagi's crane kicking his way into the Sweet 16,
Facts.
but
No chance Miyagi.
But if you have not seen Necessary Roughness, go watch it. It's a good movie. And Ed Gennaro is played by I can't remember his name, but the dude's been in a million movies. Robert Loggia is also in it. He's been in a million. You'll recognize everybody in the movie. There's so many famous people in the movie. It's very funny. But this is Miyagi Do all day.
Bang, go.
Mr. Miyagi. I mean, it's that simple. I don't think there's much.
Don't
much
submit it yet.
argument
Don't
to
submit it yet. I have overrule powers. Kidding.
No,
I'm
he
kidding.
doesn't. No,
I'm
submit that.
So I will leave you with one comment for this. Fighting is not good, but if you must fight, win. Mr. Miyagi, next round. All right, we're going to do this again next week, and we're going to break down the Sweet 16. I hope you guys had some fun with this.
We got some bangers next week.
Oh, my God. Just looking at them so far, Chubbs versus Gordon Bombay is going to be a good 1-5.
Good 1-5. Listen, Molly McGrath's going to give Mr. Miyagi a fight. Lou Brown and Buttermaker is great. Norman Dale is...
Norman Dale's going to advance.
He's a favorite there.
I don't want to give it away. Norman Dale's a huge favorite, though.
He's probably like a 13.5-point favorite. The other side, there's a couple good ones too. So we will be back for the Sweet 16 next week.
Oh, he's pulling it over.
There we go.
He's pulling it over.
What is the big? Oh, that's the big one.
Jimmy Dugan,
Jimmy Dugan, and Tony D'Amato is a war.
That's a 3-2 battle.
That is a battle.
Scroll down a little bit. We got Eric Taylor versus Danny O'Shea. Jimmy McGinty versus Mickey.
That's
another
the other. That's
war.
the other one. Those are the
two threes are wild.
They are.
I can't take it.
They came out well.
I love this shit. I'm moving to England.
The 2 threes definitely came out like they should have.
I did. This is so exciting. Next week, tune in for our Sweet 16. We got a huge UFC card to get into.
Fans are back, baby.
It's probably the card of the year so far. I mean, it's probably
You
end up
got
being the
4
card
solid
of the year.
fights.
Yeah, 3 championship fights.
We have to start with the 4th solid fight, and we'll bring that up, and we'll go over them all, and then, we'll give our winners who we think's going to win. I think I don't know on this first fight. We'll start with, Shally starts off. Chris Weidman versus Uriah Hall in the 4th fight. The 4th fight.
It's great to have as a 4th fight. I mean, we've kind of all talked about it. This depends on which Uriah Hall you get and which Chris Weidman you get. Are you getting Chris Weidman when he was champ Chris Weidman? Is Uriah Hall going to look like he gives a damn when he's in the cage? If you get both of those things, it's going to be a really good fight. If you don't, I don't know. I'm going Chris Weidman with the fight. I think if they both show up and fight well, I think Chris Weidman's a better fighter. But I don't know. I'm not as excited for that fight as I guess I should be because I really think it has dud potential.
Oh, I'm 100% with you on that. I'm not excited. I'm not excited for that fight at all. In that fight, how I see it breaking down is I think Chris Weidman can stand and bang with Uriah Hall. So if it's just a stand-up fight, I see Chris Weidman winning. I think if it's a situation where, Chris Weidman gets caught at some point, Chris Weidman's going to turn to his wrestling, and I think he's going to dominate on the ground, and he wins that way too. So for me, I think it's Chris Weidman all day, and I definitely think this fight has dud potential.
So both of you guys went with Chris Weidman, and I can understand you guys going there. And once again, I can see this fight going either way. However, Uriah Hall, so these guys fought before.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Weidman beat the crap out of him like 8 years ago. And like
Starched.
before anybody knew who either one of them were, maybe 10 years ago. it was on like Go Fight Live, like back in the day, like really that bad. But Chris Weidman has been on a huge downslide in the last 5 years of his fighting career. Uriah Hall is faster. Uriah Hall is more athletic. Uriah Hall by KO.
Wow.
Knocks him out cold. That's what I'm going.
Starching him. That's what you're picking?
Yeah, I'm going Uriah Hall.
Starch.
Knockout.
All right.
Give me unanimous decision, Whiteman.
I mean, I could see that because if Uriah Hall shows up and doesn't want to fight, that's exactly what's going to happen.
I'll say Wyman second round TKO.
I like Uriah Hall.
No.
So
The fight that I'm excited
we're,
about.
we're saying all this fight will be over in 15 seconds. Watch. That's what always happens.
before you tell me to fight, you're excited about. Let's
I
go.
thought
over it.
I thought we were going.
We're
to the
doing
next
Jessica versus Shevchenko.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You're excited about
I like
Andrade?
seeing Shevchenko fight.
You like seeing bloodbaths?
It's not. This is not my favorite fight of the night,
Okay.
but I love this fight.
Just checking.
I thought you were talking about something else too.
Yeah, same.
No. I mean,
Same.
I'm
I
more
thought you were talking
excited
about
for
good
that
fight.
I'm excited for this one too. Look, Shevchenko is the baddest woman on the planet, not named Amanda Nunes. So I want to see her fight.
That's tough, dude, because then there's another woman fighting on this card that might be just.
Nope. Shevchenko is the
I'm not
baddest
taking
woman
a-
on the
I'm
planet,
not
not
taking over
named Amanda
Shevchenko.
Nunes.
That's fair. Weili Zhang hasn't lost since her first fight, but we'll get into that fight in a
We
minute.
will.
Shevchenko by destruction.
Yes.
Okay.
This
Is this unanimous? You have no like argument for Jessa Andrade, who's terrible.
Something crazy would have to happen. I mean, again, it's a fight. You can always get caught. It's not as prevalent with the women because there's not usually like knockouts like that. But
You haven't watched Amanda Nunes fight. I'm just kidding.
yeah, I mean, she's one of like 3. Cyborg doesn't count because she's a dude. So
Oh, dude.
And she's facing the other
We
one.
gotta air that one.
I mean, she was taking horse steroids. I mean, what do you want to know?
Oh man, we went there.
Yeah, if she shows up and looks sharp, then this is not a good fight.
So nobody's giving Jessica Andrade a chance in this fight?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. I'm not either, but it's going to be very prevalent in a second.
Yeah, I agree. Johnny B.
So what Johnny B said, no way anyone takes Jessica.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But it's going to be prevalent in a second.
What are the odds on
Johnny.
that fight?
It's like minus 600.
Yeah, I was like,
Are you serious?
she's probably gonna have the worst
Yeah, I
odds.
think it's
Yeah,
minus
Oh, my
400, something like
goodness.
that.
absolutely. And that's the way it should be, to be honest.
It should be, but 600.
That's why I asked.
It's not that much. I think it's 400.
Oh, okay.
Next fight, Weili Zhang versus Rose Namajunas.
This is, for me, this is probably going to be the fight of the night. I think it's going to be more exciting than the title fight. Well, than the men's title fight, but
Yeah.
you can go, Cottrell.
I'm taking Rose.
Thug Rose.
I
He
am
is- he
all
is-
in on Thug Rose.
Thug
Weili
Rose.
Zhang is
That's
definitely
her nickname.
she's a great fighter. My takeaway though is she should have won her last fight against Joanna, but there was a little bit of doubt there. That was her first, to her defense, that was her first fight in the UFC where there was even a little bit of question.
That was a damn close fight.
But
Wasn't
I
as
definitely,
close
I
as the
thought
scorecard said.
she won, but
Yeah.
I didn't think it should have been a split. I thought it should have been unanimous decision.
It should have been 3-2,
but it was
though.
close.
It was 3-2.
It was close.
You could have
but
gave it
I
4-1.
didn't think it was a
No.
split decision fight.
100% could have.
3-2. I don't think it was a
I
split.
think
It was,
didn't one of the scorecards have it 4-1 Weili Zhang?
couldn't have been if it
I
was
think it
split.
was 4. Yeah, no, it 100% can. I think one was 49-46. Look it up. Seriously, I'm not trying to be smart. I think it was 49-46, 47-48, 47-48, or 48-47.
Gotcha.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I could be wrong.
You could be right.
Literally just taking a.
Anyway,
I thought it was
back,
3-2,
back to the
but-
breakdown of it. I just think that Rose has better hands than what Joanna had, and if she struggled with Joanna, she's going to struggle even more against Rose. So
It's a very
I like Rose in that one.
It's a very fair point. My big thing is, I think Rose can win this fight. I don't know if she will. I do believe she's more than capable of winning this fight. Really, she is. She's a damn good fighter. The one thing I will say with that last fight, I mean, she didn't back down. I mean, she stayed in that pocket the whole time and just kept banging. I guess my only concern with her is she has not fought since then. I have no idea what kind of rush she's going to have. And she took an absolute beating. They both went to the hospital after that fight. They were
Facts.
They were both admitted. The best women's fight you ever seen?
It might be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Yes.
don't know why. Yes.
Yeah.
Not yes.
Well,
So-
I mean, the Johanna versus Katarina, that fight was amazing too. That was a 5-round war. So I can't just say yes without a doubt, but it probably is.
was for the belt though, but yeah, I'm
They
saying,
both were for the
Yo.
belt.
yeah, that's right.
Her
So-
head was just.
They both were. They both look like they
Yeah.
look like aliens.
Yes.
It was 48-47, all three judges for the split decision.
All right, yeah. So all right. I know which way you're going.
Facts.
See, the thing is, I don't mind if either one of them wins. I don't. Like, I like them both. So I don't have like a rooting interest that way. I think Rose is better than maybe you're giving her credit for.
No. Good.
I'm just gonna go with. I'm just for fun. I'm gonna go with Rose. I want to see the upset. I'm curious to see how she's gonna come back from her last fight and all that damage. Like I said, she hasn't fought.
That is the point. That is right there.
Yeah.
What you just said. That is the point.
Yeah.
Right there.
And she's only fought. She fights once a year. That's the other thing too. So I mean, at least she's been in the UFC. I think for 4 or 5 years. She has 5 fights. She fights once a year. So, I just want it to be a good fight, and I absolutely think it's gonna be the fight of the night because I think they're just gonna sit there and they're gonna trade bombs for 5 rounds. That's what I think is gonna happen.
Weili Zhang by 3rd round stoppage. I think Weili Zhang is so I want to address your point because you make a point and I think it's completely unfair. Styles make fights. So Rose definitely fought has a little bit better stand up than Joanna does. Rose is cleaner. She's a cleaner fighter. However, if you followed Rose's career, and there's nothing against the girl, and I think she's the cleaner fighter. She's just not built that way. And she's not built for that war. And every time that she's got pressed, Carolina did it, and Jessica Andrade knocked her out with a hip toss.
That's like,
That's
Bro,
not the
it's
same
like-
as
it's like-
getting
it's-
knocked out by
it's
a
like
punch.
bad
though.
luck, though. I mean, look. I mean, here's the thing that
Look.
I always look at people that have been knocked out by slams, and the one that always sticks out to me is Matt Hughes and Carlos Newton. Like Carlos Newton was probably winning that fight, and he went to do something to Matt Hughes, and Matt Hughes was just strong enough to pick him up. Matt Hughes was in the process of getting choked out. If you really watched the fight, he was kind of out when he slammed Newton, and Newton just went out cold, and they called the fight for Hughes. Like, it just happens when you get picked up like that.
Correct.
You just land on your head sometimes. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. The only reason I'm going to go disagree with that is I think the personal stuff with this one, I think weighs in on this fight.
Yes, and I agree with you. And I think when Rose gets caught, guys, listen, follow Rose's career. Follow the Carolina fight. Follow the Jessica Andrade fight. When Rose gets caught in a position where she's hurt, and I've seen Weili Zhang, and you make a very good point, Bill, about the fact that how is she going to respond after that war. But I've seen Weili Zhang go through war and come out victorious. I haven't seen Rose Namajunas go through a war and come out. When she gets caught, and the whole Jessica Andrade second fight, when they fought again and Rose beat her, it was like a game of stick and move. Stick and move.
Yeah, but what's saying she doesn't do that Saturday night?
Weili Zhang is going to probably lose the first round and then win the second round and stop her in the third. I love Weili Zhang. See, East Coast, I love Dante checking in. Rose has definitely the better stand-up. Pat Perry is her fiance. He's been playing a major role in her fighting, in her training. But Weili Zhang is just better. She just is. You're talking about a girl who hasn't lost since her first fight. I haven't lost since her first fight. She's won 23 straight fights, whatever it is.
It's a record.
23-1, I think.
Yeah.
My point being is she's been through war and she's been back. I think Rose is going to look cleaner. She's going to hit her with a couple kicks. She's going to look flashier. And I think eventually Weili Zhang is just going to beat her to a pulp. And I feel bad for Rose in that third round because I think it's going to be a third-round stoppage. If it's a one-round fight and you're just looking who looks cleaner after one round, it's probably going to be Rose. But in a war like this, I've never seen Weili Zhang stopped. I've never seen Weili Zhang stopped. And if you think Rose is going to win a 5-round war with Weili Zhang, I don't agree. So I'm going to go Weili Zhang, third round. So You think it's going to a decision?
I think it's going to decision either way.
And you think so too?
Yep.
Okay, so I have Zhang by third round stoppage. Now we get to the best, well, not the best part, but
Main event?
main event. Kamaru Usman versus GameBred Masvidal. Jorge GameBred Masvidal. GameBred has more time to plan and train for this fight. Does it change the fact that Usman destroyed him 4-1, maybe 5-0 on some cards?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely changes. I think it changes how the outcome, not necessarily the outcome, but how the fight looks. It's definitely tough. I mean, you're against all odds when you're going up against, Kamaru Usman, who is the champion of the division, and you only got 6 days to prepare for him. It's a lot different when you have the whole camp. You kind of, you watch film, like you're ready for this specific fight. I still think Kamaru comes out on top, but I definitely think this is going to be a better fight than what we saw, a few months ago.
I think the training thing is a huge thing. Not only strategic wise, they only have 6 days to prepare. He had to drop 20. He had to cut 20 pounds to make weight for that fight in 6 days.
Kamaru still couldn't knock him out.
Yeah.
This is knock out somebody to beat him.
This is one of those things where it's like
held him against the cage and stomped on his feet.
And won.
Friggin' joke.
He won.
6 days.
And he won.
This is one of those
4-1.
things where it's like my head, like if you put logic into it, like you factor certain things in, like you really give Masvidal a chance to win this fight. If you go by off the first performance and just kind of how you think the fight's going to play out, then you're probably going to pick Usman. To Gene's point, which I think is huge, that dude came in damn near dehydrated, no energy, no game plan, and took that beating for whatever we want to call it, but took it with a smile, didn't get knocked out, went 25 minutes with him. That kind of plays into what we always talk about with Usman. He just can't stop people all the time. I mean, he just doesn't finish people on a routinely basis. Masvidal is the type of guy that I think if he's in shape and he has a good game plan and he can score points and do damage to Usman, you let a guy like that hang around for 5 rounds, that is not your best interest. I do think in the end Usman's probably just too big, and he's probably just going to do what he normally does. He's going to clinch. He's going to dirty box. He's going to push people up against the cage, and we're just going to watch them clinch for 25 minutes. So that's probably what it's going to be.
You're probably right. You guys are probably right. There's not a chance in the world I'm going to sit on the show and take Kamaru Usman over GameBred Masvidal. Masvidal is currently my favorite fighter in the UFC. I don't think it's close. I love the way he fights. I love his attitude. I love the shit talk. Listen, I love me some Jorge Masvidal. I've been clamoring for the Jorge Masvidal Conor McGregor fight for months upon months. I think with the training camp, I think you could get it if Jorge Masvidal wins this fight.
No, you're still Conor's not going to 170.
So listen, I'm going to continue my prayers. I've been praying to the UFC gods every night for this fight.
That is who you need help from to make that fight happen, probably.
But I am not picking Kamaru Usman. I think Jorge Masvidal is going to been training a ton for this. I think he's very, very intelligent. He's got a ton of fights under his belt. Yeah, he's a veteran in his sport, and I think that although Usman probably is better, although he probably grapple and clinch him and hold him and step on his feet like a. Sorry, I'm getting a
like
little
how
bit
he
of
did Gilbert
context.
Burns.
No, not what he did with Gilbert Burns. I guarantee he doesn't do that with Jorge Masvidal.
That's fair.
He's not.
GameBred is BMF though, so of course he's not going to do that to GameBred. He's not
going to stay in the middle of that octagon and try to fight him that way.
My whole
he's
thing,
not going to do that.
My whole thing with GameBred
he will
is
lose that way.
I love GameBred, and I don't want to knock him, but if we're just keeping it 100 here, GameBred is not an elite fighter. Not an elite. Never has been elite. He's never been the guy that you're he's top 5 in the division. Not top 5, top 3 in the division all the time.
Just going to get into that. GameBred is. I think of him a lot like you do, and that's why I like him. He's like a dude like you would go into he seems like a normal guy that just he's gone through so much and
the troll had a really good comment.
What do you say?
He said Masvidal destroyed Diaz. If Diaz wasn't a zombie, he would have died in that ring. That's accurate. So accurate.
It is. The problem you have is, and this to get back to Charles' point, Masvidal is a dude like you could walk into like an LA Fitness and he'd be in there like sparring. Like he's like he's like a normal guy. He's super tough. Outside of Conor, he probably does have the best shit talking game in the UFC. Him, Conor, Colby, they're probably all like in that group. I love him, and I'm telling you, I want him to win. I would
get it.
love
and I can't,
Masvidal to
but
win.
Once again, I'm not betting my money on it.
I know. My thing is though, what you were saying is what sticks in my head.
He's not elite. I get it.
Like his last 2 wins are
you
what?
You guys had your breakdown. Let me get
they're Nate
and Ben,
and it's just I don't know.
Listen, I'm taking Jorge Masvidal for the simple fact that I am going to be rooting so hard for him, and I gamble on everything. I probably will put $50 on Masvidal, 3-1, but I'm not putting any real money on Masvidal. But I really want him to win. I want him to win so bad because I love Jorge Masvidal.
If that dude has,
I want him to knock out Kamaru Usman just flat. Bro, one of the greatest knockouts I've ever seen in the history of the UFC was when this man knocked out Ben Askren. That was the greatest. That and Dan Henderson knocking out Michael Bisping were two of my favorite knockouts ever.
That's a good one.
There's a good one. Rich Franklin's of Nate Quarry is really bad. That one gets
see how old he gets?
Dude.
I'm kidding.
Of course, I mean
Gabriel Gonzaga with Crow Cop, that leg kick.
McGregor and Aldo has to be
that was amazing.
Up there.
Counter left, quick hook.
I'm just going with Masvidal because I love him. I don't suggest you. I know you guys follow my UFC picks because I'm damn near perfect. I get it, but
I will say this too: it's better business for UFC if Masvidal wins that fight.
Yeah, he's more
because you can book Masvidal against anybody and it's going to sell.
So you put Masvidal with the BMF and the 170 belt, that changes things.
By the way, Joey Hager on the Wireline brought up a amazing point. Do you remember the Masvidal Kimbo slice fights?
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's all grit and balls. I love it.
He's like the working man's like UFC guy. Like he's just.
We don't have too much time to get into the NBA. I just want to talk about how amazing Steph Curry's been.
I hate Stephen A. Smith, but I mean he summed it up pretty perfectly the other day.
Give me a summary.
It's just a quote. He said he is the best shooter that God ever created, and it's just accurate, and that's all you need to know.
There's 5 players in the history of the NBA hit 10 3-pointers in a game. Steph Curry's done it 6 times this year.
Mm-hmm.
That is stupid.
It's
watching him the other night versus the 76ers when the whole world knew he was going to shoot the ball and just can't stop it. He is just for pound. Like I've gained so much respect for Stephen Curry this year. It's especially the last 10 days, man.
You take a person his size, and then it gets you back into like the Allen Iverson discussion. A little guy that just played out of his mind.
He's not that little though. He's 6'3". Like I get it. He's little.
Yeah, but he's small.
He's small,
he is.
He's
like petite.
He is
petite.
I mean, I feel like I love his story. Just coming from Davidson, small school, and then he shot the lights out there.
Oh, man.
Came to the NBA. Like people forget that Steph
His
Curry battled.
Is hilarious.
He battled injuries so early on, like the ankle injuries that he had.
He still does.
His numbers,
his ankles are terrible.
His numbers would have been insane had he been able to play like full seasons while he was young. Steph Curry's definitely having an unbelievable year this year, and it'll be fun to see like how far he stretches his NBA 3-point record when it's all said and done.
I pulled it up just because I think it's super hilarious, and I want the listeners to listen at home. Coming out of college, the Steph Curry scouting report. You ready? It's like the Tom Brady one. Not a true point guard. Backup fringe starter. College system makes him difficult to evaluate. Frail frame. Relies too heavily on the outside shot. Lacks lateral quickness. Limited upside.
That guy's
Done.
probably not a scout anymore.
Done.
The crazy thing though is
it's not that
outside of the lateral quickness, I think
not
that's
that
like
inaccurate.
spot on. Yeah, that sounds like Steph coming out of school.
I mean, it's one of the reasons he ended up with Davidson. He wasn't heavily recruited because of his size, just the way he played. I mean, but it just says something to somebody's belief in themselves to be like, I can play this way, and not only am I going to play this way, but I'm going to be the best to ever do it this way, and then go out and do it.
The troll came with another spot-on comment. He said,
say?
I wish that Steph Curry played better defense. He makes Fred VanVleet look like Michael Jordan. They're funny comments. I can't not read them. They're great. I mean, Steph Curry plays almost as bad a defense as Steve Nash.
Oh, here we go.
We can't get into too much more NBA.
No.
We'll get into more NBA next
two
week.
MVPs just like him. So I mean, I guess the comparison is kind of
Listen, if you're at home, and you
got a
think
rim shot
Steve
back there,
Nash
Mike?
is a better player than Chris Paul, you are insane.
Mike, I need a rim shot.
One last point, and I'm done. One last point. There's been 3 times in the history of the NBA that a guy's won the MVP of the National Basketball Association and not averaged 20 points. 2 are Steve Nash. Now, listen, you would say that if he had like 15, 17 assists a game, that would make it worth it, right? He had 11 and 11 and a half assists a game. 15 and 11 and a half, 18 and 11. It's unbelievable that this man won an MVP with Amari Stoudemire and Shawn Marion. I'm done. We got to get to you. Got to be kidding me. I'm done. No. Chris Paul's way better.
He gets to talk. And
Of
then we're
course.
just like,
Right.
Whatever. What
Right.
else new?
Gene loves Chris Paul. He hates Steve Nash. For those of you who don't know,
Yep.
Steve Nash is the worst historical defender of all time. Like, they created a system against him. They created a system because he couldn't play defense. All right, but
2 MVPs.
you got to be kidding me. Trell.
all right. So my you gotta be kidding me this week is courtesy of one of GameBred Masvidal's best wins of his career, Ben Askren. If you guys saw the fight that happened on Saturday with him and Jake Paul, it was a complete joke. I'm not gonna say it was rigged or it was fixed
was
or
rigged.
anything, but it definitely looked like it was fixed and rigged. The fact that Jake Paul threw this weak punch and Ben Askren's just knocked out and he's laid out and then he gets up, he's all wobbly or whatever. And then, 15 minutes after, he's all, smiling and happy. It just seemed like it was a big payday thing. It's really a joke. And I can't wait until Jake Paul fights a real fighter so we can really see what he's made out of. For that this week, though, Ben Askren.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
That was one of mine, and I want to be clear when I say this. That fight was fixed. Ben Askren was smirking on the ground as he got knocked out. Fixed. Absolutely atrocious. A UFC fighter that gets hit with 10-ounce gloves constantly throughout his career, got into a boxing ring, and got knocked out by a punch by Jake Paul. Get the hell out of here. Go ahead, Bill.
Oh, well. Ben Askren has never set the world on fire striking or anything.
That's also very true.
The rumor Nate Diaz wants that. So, that becomes real interesting. Because I actually think Jake Paul beat him in a boxing match with big gloves on. Say.
Good, you're up.
Nate Diaz ain't hurt nobody with those things on. This week for me is it's one of those, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like a sad ending to a story type thing. Alden Smith came into the league with the 49ers and absolutely just went on a tear for his first 3 seasons in San Fran. Was all pro. I think he had like 33 and a half sacks through his first 3 years. Kid was literally just on his way to be an absolute superstar. Started getting in trouble, got a DUI, got another DUI, got in a bad fight, got arrested for that, got released. He's been suspended for substance abuse issues with the NFL. He got an indefinite suspension on top of all that. He's out of the league for 2.5 years, somewhere around there. Comes back with Dallas, gets his head on straight, plays well, gets a solid footing back in the league. Just signed a 1-year deal with Seattle to keep playing this year. And then he goes and gets in a dumb fight in New Orleans with some guy that he knows. Chokes him out unconscious, leaves him on the corner of the road. He got arrested yesterday. With his past, his NFL career is probably over now.
100%.
He's absolutely going to get suspended. It's probably going to be indefinite again. I don't understand these guys that get so many chances, that have so much talent, and just decide to waste it on dumb stuff. You just threw your career away, dude. You threw away another $1.5 million. I can't see anybody signing you again. It's just sad. I mean, it's sad when you see stuff, especially when you see guys do the right things and come back and then turn around and throw it all away again. So this week for me, it's Alden Smith.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
You know, they say that karma or like fate.
Yeah.
My fate right now has come true. Last week I had to give Shannon Sharp my "You Got to Be Kidding Me," and I hate Kevin Durant, but I agreed with him for one time in my life. This week my "You Got to Be Kidding Me" is Kevin Durant. Let me explain if you guys don't know at home. Kevin Durant was caught again. I guess this was not, it's supposed to be from his burner account, but it wasn't. So there was an argument on Twitter between two nobodies. The guy who Ty Lue said we have to stop in order to win wasn't the best player. The guy getting double teamed isn't the best. So who is the best Warrior this season? Because Steph is still getting doubled. And then the comment replying to that is Kevin Durant was better than Steph Curry both those years. Everybody knows it. Don't try and kid yourself. This MFer Curry needed another MVP and 3 All-Stars to get the job done. Trash ass. Kevin Durant has liked this message. You just went on TV and said Steph Curry was your 3rd best teammate of all time. I just have to assume that he thought he was under his burner account, but to like a tweet that says Steph Curry was trash after you won 2 titles with the guy, you are the biggest sensitive joke that cares about Twitter so much. Kevin Durant, this week it is clear you're my
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
joke. Any final thoughts, Cottrell?
I got one that's really 2. So I just remembered that in my defensive player list, I left out 2 of my sleepers. My sleeper at linebacker is Dylan Moses from Alabama, and my sleeper at corner is Trey Brown from Oklahoma.
Trell Kuiper.
Bang.
Bang.
Listen, if you guys are college football fans or want to know more about the NFL draft, tune in next week, man. Cottrell watches more of it than anybody I've ever met in my life.
I do watch a lot of it, and he watches more than I do.
Shall any final thoughts?
I just have a shout-out. Congratulations to Steve Gardner and Shea Simpkins for getting engaged this past weekend.
Whoa.
Surprise for her. A bunch of us knew about it, but just a shout-out for them. Congratulations. And that's it for that from me.
I have one quick one I want to give, and this is way not as serious, but Nick Sirianni, man. Like, listen, rock, paper, scissors, shoot is the way you judge a collegiate athlete's competitiveness. Because if he cares about beating you in rock, paper, scissors, shoot, he's ultra competitive, right, Nick? You clown. It was the dumbest thing I ever heard in my entire life. You played rock, paper, scissors, shoot through a Zoom call. You're so lucky Durant sucks, or you would have been my "You Gotta Be Kidding Me."
We're so screwed.
That's how I want to end the rest of the show. This is week 28. I had a ton of fun. Hope you guys had a ton of fun. Thank you guys for tuning in. See us next week for draft coverage and the continuation of the fictional sports bracket.
Sweet 16.
Bang! With that, we're out.